Welcome to Real Estate Powerhouse, live on Tap Talks with your host, Taliya Bashani, top real estate attorney and negotiation expert. This is your opportunity to get the inside scoop and hear straight from top real estate agents in the business. Broadcasting live from New York City, learn the secrets of their success and hear the most authentic, real, unfiltered stories about how they got to where they are today. From their wins to their failures to the biggest lessons of their careers and what keeps them rising to the top. And now, here is your host attorney, Taliya Bashani.
Welcome, Gabby. We are on Real Estate Powerhouse, live on Tab Talks, and today we have Gabrielle Gilbert from Serhant team. Welcome to the show. So great to have you here today.
Thank you. It's such an honor. I'm really, really excited.
Wonderful. Well, I haven't seen you in way too long, so at least I get to see you, virtually, but we're going to make it hopefully live very soon.
Yes.
So, Gabby, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you got started in the real estate biz.
Okay. So, hi, everyone. I'm Gabby. Gabrielle Gilbert. You can call me Gabby. So many do. I am a wife. I'm a mom. I am a former interior architect and freelance designer still. I used to do a lot more design before real estate, and now I'm a full-time realtor. So I got into real estate because I needed something that helped my time to just be a little bit more in control by me. Previously I was doing architecture, high-end residential architecture, and it was amazing. I love it. I still love architecture and interior design. But it took a lot away from me in terms of time. So I did that for about 12 years, doing the high-end, focusing on high-end residential. And then after I gave birth, I switched a little bit and I went into hospitality design and I started designing hotels across the globe. One of which is the Ray in Delray, Florida. I worked with my team at that time to design that hotel, the lobby, the guest suites and everything, which was super exciting. Yeah, it was really great. But yeah, I was there in the office like till 3 a.m. sometimes doing drawings and things like that. And it really took away from my time with my little one. And that was hard for me. So if I needed time off and just wanted to be able to take my daughter to the doctor or something as small as that, it was difficult to do because the boss at the time, like she really was hard on those who had children, and it just made things difficult. So I was like, I need something where I dictate my schedule, the career, how my career goes. I'm still able to make enough to help my family, and that was why I wanted to steer into real estate. Ultimately,
You're fantastic. And there's so many working moms that are juggling and balancing, being a career woman and being a mother and making sure they're not missing out on like milestones for their kids. So the fact that you recognize that and you really set priorities for yourself and you were like, I don't want to miss out on, my kid's life and their every stage of their upbringing. So I think that's amazing that you were able to transition into real estate and taking all those skills from architecture and design and implementing them, into your career now. So tell us about a little bit how, that hybrid, how that, really benefits you and your clients for that matter.
Oh, yes, it definitely does. I feel like that was impactful for me because straight out of college, I went to college for architecture and I started working part-time at that same firm that I stayed at the entire time. I've never been to another firm until I went into hospitality design. So in being there from the beginning of my career and really being exposed to the high-end residential sphere, that was it really changed the whole path of my career. Essentially, it taught me a lot because, just walking into a space and knowing finishes and knowing how something was constructed, or if something was poorly done, being able to recognize those things is just, it's essential. So it's been very helpful for my clients to help them to see what a project can be, because I'm so used to looking at unfinished spaces or looking
Right.
at spaces that are not in good condition, and being able to say, well, this could be here, or you can open up this wall and you can move this here and make sure the furniture is proportionate, and all those
Yeah,
things to just help them see a vision. And even now, I use those skills to work with stagers or virtual stagers to help, put furniture and different things into the room or switch up the room so that they can visualize like on paper and see it in person, like what this could potentially be. So I use it in everything to be able to
that's
help.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that goes so far because,
Right.
not only are you just, can you just represent or assist a first-time home buyer, but you can also assist investors, looking
Right.
for fixing flips or gut renos or condo conversions or whatever it may be, and you
Yep.
can really lend all of that, great experience. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Um,
And do alternative floor plans. Just, yeah, all of that it's so helpful. So thank
That's
you.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us, so when you got started in real estate, how did you really, what do you think from the ground up really helped you? And do you work with buyers? Do you work with sellers? Do you do a medley of both? Like what's your, specialty, and what do you enjoy the most?
Okay. So when I started off with rentals. I was at City Habitats, and they mainly did rentals. I started there, and then they were bought out by Corcoran. So I got grandfathered into Corcoran, and I was there for the majority of my real estate career, and got all my training and everything from there, which was incredibly helpful because the training was great. Um, and so I started with rentals, it was good to just have a feel for that type of real estate deal, that type of real estate transaction. And because it turns over so quickly, it was easy to start getting used to how you interact with clients or strangers that you're meeting, for the first time. And that was great. It was a great start to help me get comfortable in the sales area, which is what I do mostly now. The only time really now that I do rentals is if I'm working with the landlord and I'm listing it. And I've
Okay.
had clients who have purchased like multifamilies with me, and then they'll use me to rent those out as well. So at the moment, I work with mostly buyers, but I am trying to just do both. I love the hybrid. I want to even cater a little bit more to sellers because I really want to be able to help my buyers too in terms of having more listings for them to choose from. But yes, at the moment I'm more buyer heavy, and I love first time home buyers because I'm big into teaching and I love holding hands, like holding someone's
Okay.
hand through an experience and really educating them through it all is important to me because I want my clients not to just feel like they're being dragged through so that I can get a check at the end. I want them
Right.
to understand the experience, be comfortable with every aspect. And so being more of a teacher in the whole experience is important on my end. So yes, I'm more buyer heavy, but
Okay.
definitely trying to cater a little more to sellers these days.
Okay, fantastic. Awesome. And when you really got, heavy more into sales and started transitioning your business, from rentals to sales, did you automatically start working with a team? Did you start off solo? I know you're with a fabulous, team now, a group of wonderful powerhouse women.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that and what you think, the pros or cons are about working with a team versus, solo.
Yeah. So I started off solo. And I started off as the solo rental agent with City Habitats. When I started at Corcoran, I was still solo. And I
Okay.
stayed like that for a while. I found that it really depends on your personality. Because if you feel like you learn very quickly and you just need someone who will answer some questions, then you may just need like to work with the manager. Like if the manager just can answer a couple questions for you and you can really take it and run, then that's
Mhm.
your personality that works for you. There's some people who want to just watch, and so you may at that point need a mentor that you can shadow and help in any way, to be able to offer your assistance and your time if they don't have that.
Mhm.
Just so that you can catch on to what they're doing. And then there are others who really love the camaraderie and the family feel, and they work better in pairs or, with a big group or whatever the case might be. And then in that case, I would say that a team would be really beneficial where you can't show up, or maybe you're on vacation or whatever the case might be, and you have people who can back you up. That was probably the biggest challenge that I had when I was solo. But I started on a team at Corcoran. At like the end of my time at Corcoran, I was on a team, and I found the feedback and just someone looking at what I'm doing and saying, maybe you can tweak this or tweak that to be really beneficial. And then once I got to Serhant, I wanted to be on a team. Like I didn't even really ask about a solo possibility, because I really did want to be around, meet new people, be around them, see how they work, and be able to implement all the best things into my business that I already was building. So that was
Yeah.
important to me. And now I'm on a pretty big team, on Michael Sadis's team, and they all have different styles, and it's great.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. So, and how do you, I would say, balance or divvy up, the workload, and are you sharing in commissions? Like everybody's splitting it? How do you make sure that you get paid for your work? And how do you really maintain that balance? Because there's a lot of new agents that maybe are watching the show that are kind of determining, what direction to go, and want to make sure, yes, I love the family feel of a team, but I also want to make sure that I'm getting compensated, properly, as far as like, how do you divvy up the commission in that sense?
Yes. So it depends on the team. And I would definitely recommend doing research, and just asking them how they set things up. Because I've seen others, some of my counterparts that have been on teams that split everything. So if one person answers a phone call, they get a certain percentage. If another person takes them on a showing, that's a certain dollar amount, and it just flips up that way. That's not the structure of my current team. At the moment, you're more individual because you're running your own deal, right? But you have the support, and if you need anything, or if you need anyone to come in and do an open house with you or showings for you because you're not here, or then you will divvy up and split it up, or give a certain amount fee towards that person for that assistance. But it's not like every deal is split amongst every person there.
Okay, so you're in charge of your own leads, you're managing your own deal, and you just fall on one another for support.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm currently in. But there are teams that work differently. So it really just is what's comfortable for you, because there's some people when you're starting, and what I do recommend, like when you're starting out in real estate, you don't worry so much about the splits. Just learn. Like once you get it down, you know how to do a standard deal, because every deal is different. And yes, there are things that pop up that you wouldn't expect maybe on certain deals. But if you can lock it down and know how to close out a solid sales deal, like at the very basic level, and you've got that down pat, that's everything. So in the beginning, I had there was a mentor at Corcoran, and they would just take 50-50 of whatever your deal is to mentor you. And honestly, I didn't feel like they gave me a whole lot of information. They just kind of answered my questions, but I still felt like I was running a lot of it. But they took half the commission anyway. But it was just so that I could learn how it's done. So I asked as many questions as possible. I wanted to drain them of any information I could, so that I could lock it down. And then after that, then I start caring about how much I'm getting, because now I know how to do it. So I feel like sacrifice in the beginning to learn, and then you can adjust.
Smart. Yeah, no, that's a good play. Well played. And so what made you do the move? We hear agents all the time transitioning from different, brokerages, different agencies. So what made you leave Corcoran? I know Ryan was definitely recruiting, heavily, and, the Serhant family is definitely a strong one. What made you transition over?
Yes. So I was interested in growth. Like I always, like, if I start to feel a little uneasy, I know that I'm like, there's something else that I need, that I need to learn, that I need to grow, that I need to try. And even though I got great training at City Habitats in Corcoran, I still felt like on the social media front, I needed someone to help me break outside of this box of what I've already learned. And so Serhant did that for me. Serhant is very outside of the box thinking. And a lot of the people who are working at Serhant think outside of the box. They do the most wild things. The social media aspect, their recordings, the videos, the podcasts, everything that they put their hands on, it's very unlike the others. And I wanted to be pushed outside of my comfort zone. I also wanted to meet people who were doing real estate on a scale that I wasn't, because I feel like you need to be around people who are smarter than you, who's doing better than you, so you can keep striving, so that was important to me. And though Corcoran has great people, I feel like their structure, they've been around for ages, So Serhant, while they're very established in the social media type of way, they're still a startup. So there's still these like learning. It was a balancing of the two, where you're a startup and you're trying new things and seeing what works and what doesn't, but also what you're doing in real estate. So just coupling those two, I felt like more of a butterfly, just able to grow into a different type of person and meet other types of people who are doing the same.
Yeah, I love that. And, you guys are so you are so engaging, you engage, you do so many different type of special events, and you invite other agents and clients, and you're really about having that FaceTime, and, you still have that boutique feel, which is great.
Right.
But you guys are so active. Which is also really wonderful, and it's so important because it's all about establishing and making those relationships,
Yes.
Now, you mentioned how much social media has really kind of, taken flight, especially in the real estate industry. And I must say, you seem to be at the top of your game with your social media, and you're so, your reels and your videos and very engaging. So how did you really build, that piece up of your business? Because, a lot of new agents also kind of, aspire to get to that level. And we know a lot of business and a lot of leads come from that great exposure. So tell us a little bit how you were able to master that art.
Thank you. I feel like I've always loved social media. So I'm a little bit more biased in that sense. Like, there are some people who are just not comfortable on social media, but I've always really loved it. From the time MySpace was out, I was on MySpace. From the time when when Facebook only allowed you on if you went to college, I was on Facebook. And I was the first person on Facebook from my college, because our college wasn't actually accepted on there just yet. And I messaged them and I was like, I need to be on Facebook, so you have to include NYIT. And when they did, they emailed me. They emailed me. And so I was the first one from NYIT on Facebook.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I've always really loved social media, because I do find just being able to connect with people that you haven't seen in ages. Like, I have friends from kindergarten, on Facebook, on Instagram. So being able to connect with people like that was always really important to me. And then being vulnerable sometimes, and open. While I don't recommend putting every single thing on social media, I feel like you can still be yourself and help people to fall in love with you as a person before they've actually even met you. So a lot of my business has come from referrals and social media. It's all been there. And if you put a little bit more than just real estate on there, then people feel like you're a friend in their head before they've actually met you in person, and they trust you off bat. So I find social media to be really helpful in that regard. You just reach out you're able to connect with people that you wouldn't normally bump into on a regular day basis. So I find just establishing yourself on each platform to be really valuable. And that's something that I would recommend to new agents. Get on as many platforms as you can, lay your foundation out, create a website, create your social media presence on whether you use Instagram, you're on LinkedIn, definitely have a LinkedIn, TikTok, every single one. If you can put your business on there, have something on there so that if you are Googled or whatever the case might be, there are different things that'll pop up that show that you have some kind of footprint out there. I think that
Yeah.
that's really, really valuable. So yeah, I've always loved it. But for those who don't particularly love it, I would say
Yeah.
practice looking in the mirror and talking to yourself about something. Like talking to yourself about things is a big part of social media because when you go live, that's essentially what you're doing. You're seeing yourself, you're talking to yourself, but people are
Right.
joining in and like writing comments, and you can then respond to the comments, but you're just looking at you. So if you
Yeah.
can get used to and comfortable with how your face looks in the mirror, and when you say certain words, what your eyes do, if your eyes look a little dim or if they're awake, like get used to those things, and that
Yeah.
will help you be more comfortable on social.
That's amazing advice. That's really great advice. And I love how you said it's not just all about business, it's also about lifestyle, so you show who personal, side, and who Gabby is from a, business side, and you become relatable. So people are like, oh, I like her so much. I love her personality. I love how she just, how she presents things, and and she seems like a great person. I'd love to work with her. So
Right.
I think that's so true. And you have really mastered that art, and you do such a great job of that. So
Thank you.
definitely follow. If you don't follow Gabby, follow her. At the end of the show, she'll give all her contacts and all her handles, so you guys can
Yes.
definitely reach out to her. But we are going to take a brief commercial break. We're going to be right back with part 2 of the show, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you guys in a few.
Whether you are a new buyer or a seasoned investor in the real estate market, you need top legal representation and expertise to ensure your transactions close smoothly and successfully. As someone whose priorities are communication, attention to detail, efficiency, and creative negotiation, TAB Law Firm provides hands-on, personalized service that focuses on clients' needs and peace of mind. After working with big corporate law firms, I realized their focus was on volume rather than nurturing and protecting their clients. I then decided to start my own firm 15 years ago to provide exceptional, personalized service that protects and informs my clients every step of the way. Most of my clients are looking for guidance, transparency, and clear communication throughout their real estate transaction. Making myself available to my clients is one of my top priorities, and my expertise allows me to foresee issues before they happen and avoid potential downfalls. This proactive approach safeguards my clients from incurring any additional expenses, delays, or stress. During the selling or buying process, efficiency is key. I keep all parties informed and organized, ensuring we close smoothly. I fancy myself as a deal maker, not a deal breaker. If you are looking to buy or sell real estate, or if you are a real estate broker looking for an attorney who's going to be communicative, efficient, and responsive to you and your clients, then contact me at Tali360.com and let's start working together. Close with Tab and feel fab.
All right. Welcome back, everyone, to part 2 of Real Estate Powerhouse. We have Gabby Gilbert in the house from the Serhant team. And thank you so much, Gabby. You definitely provided a lot of valuable information and insight in part 1. And now in part 2, I want to get a little bit into, a little bit more of the nitty gritty. So, we all know in our careers, especially when establishing, ourselves, that there's going to be challenges along the way. It only makes us stronger. But what would you say has been the biggest lesson of your career that you've learned along the way?
I would say imposter syndrome and how to deal with it. That was probably the biggest challenge. And I mean, still in certain ways can be challenging. So I've had to kind of, something that no one else can really teach you is how to deal with that. Like, especially when you're in this field.
Yeah.
So in addition to, as people know, in real estate, you're only getting paid once you close the deal. So, getting through that entire deal, getting leads, all of that it's essential to having an actual thriving business. And in order to do that, you have to step into some rooms that you may not feel like you belong in. And for me, that's kind of where it came from on my end. One, I got used to being in rooms where I felt like I didn't necessarily belong in architecture, and then it carried along through into real estate. Architecture is very white male dominated, and so is real estate. So I have the same feelings sometimes when you walk into a room and you're the only of the few Black females who are in the room. That was one of those challenging moments, like, okay, Gabby, you have to say to yourself, you belong here, you belong here. And you walk in there like you belong there. Okay.
Own it.
Yes, own it. Get in there. You belong. Speak confidently. Connect with people. Be real. Don't be shy. Like all of that running through my head over and over again from the time I was in architecture till now is something that I see as a continual challenge that I will keep pushing through. So for those who don't know anything about real estate and they're coming in for the first time and they go to their first networking event or whatever the case might be, whatever race, whatever gender, you may still feel like I'm out of place here. I don't know what I'm doing, but everyone didn't know what they were doing until they knew what they were doing. Right.
Exactly.
So, so I think that yes, exactly. So you come in confident and really just keep telling yourself, imposter syndrome you have to squash it down. It's real. It happens. You feel it, you squash it down and you push through. So that's going to be my biggest challenge. And I just keep trying to push it down and keep going in confidence.
Great advice. I love that. That's so important. And it's so true because you have to believe in yourself first before anybody's going to believe in you, So if you're going to approach clients or, other agents, or even if you're trying to co-broke or submit offers or whatever it is, you have to really be able to own it, work it, and, and get the deal done. But you have to have that confidence and, that self, belief first and foremost. So true. Now, on the flip side, let's talk about, the biggest game changer of your career, when you really felt like, the tables turned for you and you're like, wow, I'm on it. I'm loving this. I'm and I'm sure, look, everybody on a day-to-day, we all continue to grow, right? And we continue to succeed and get better and better. But when do you think it really, that table turned for you where it was the biggest game changer of your career?
I would probably say, after closing my first sale. My first sale happened to be, while it wasn't in the $1 million listing category, it happened to be a triple, like a three-way instead of a dual agent, because I brought the listing, I brought the buyer, and I was able to send the seller to Georgia and connected her with an agent over there and collected the referral fee on that as well. And at the time, I had this mentor who was working with me, who helped me to learn the standards of both sides because we were doing it together as like dual agents. So that was a game changer. One, because of great mentorship, and that was Luna. I'm going to shout her out. One, because of great mentorship. Two, because of getting to learn the basics on an hands-on way, just being able to see each step. Okay, and I'm writing it down and I'm mentally taking notes, and also writing down the stages of each thing and who says what and who to reach out to for what. Learning all of the ins and outs of a standard sale, that changed everything. Because after that, I was like, I've got it. I've got this. I feel so much more confident in everything. And then again, I don't have to say, well, this is my first deal. It was good to be done with that. No more newbie in terms of, how some people get nervous, they don't want to tell anyone it's their first deal or whatever the case might be, so just being able to get past that, to succeed in it, and every win after that becomes something that just builds your faith and builds your confidence,
Yeah.
so that you can really be able to stand strong in everything. And so the next game changer for me is being at Serhant and being able to take all of the small wins, every sale that had happened prior to and every sale that's happening after I've been at Serhant, really just completely, I feel like, transforms my life in getting to know these powerhouse people, and getting to grow with them, to connect with them, to connect to others that they might know.
Yeah.
The networking is top notch, like across the globe. So that
Yeah.
would be what I'd say for the best parts of the game changing real estate industry for me.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Well, yeah, look, the fact that you had a triple play on your first closing is like, that itself is like $1 million listing.
Yeah, right.
You know, you killed it from all sides. Yeah.
Yes.
And I also love what you said about, you know, you keep people around you that are successful, that motivates you and inspires you to be even better, because now you're like playing, you know, with the big wigs, and now you're, you know, you're leveling up and you're getting to that next, you know, level in your career that really makes you want to continue climbing to the top. You know,
very true.
So let's talk about that a little bit. What are your future career goals? Where do you see yourself maybe 5 years down the line? Is there anything that, you know, you are really focused on wanting to achieve or do or explore? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. So my goal is really to get to a place. Family is very important to me. When I first got into when I first was pregnant, while I was pregnant, my mom passed away. And so thank you. But I lost my closest person to me. And then I gained this little girl who was just like my closest person to me, you know? So it was like God took one, but he gave me another. Yes, it was a shift. And I realized that time with your family members is so precious, like, because life is just so short, you know? And so it was really important to me to be there, to be around. And that's how I even got into real estate, was because I really just didn't want to miss parts of my daughter's life. And then when I look to the future, I'm like, okay, I want this career and there's no plan B. This is it. This has to work, and I'm committed to it. And I want to see this work for me instead of me working so hard for it. So that's what I'm growing to. I want to get to a place where I only close 2 deals a year and I am rolling in the finances to be able to take care of my family and do travel and be around for things. I mean, I'm a PTA mom, which I was really excited to be.
Oh,
the time to do that. You know, I want to have the time to be a good wife, to take care of my household and all of that. And like, working moms do a lot. So it was really, really important to me to have that time. So I want to get to a stage where I do only close 2 multi-million-dollar deals, and I'm good, and I'm only doing real estate because I want to versus need to, you know? So at the moment I need to, you know, I'm still growing. I'm still getting there. But that's the goal. I would love to be there. I want to be able to help other people. I'm big into mentorship. That's one of the, my other goals, like, aside from being financially like set, I want to be able to help other people, other new agents. I want to be able to teach them how to do things and you know, just motivate them. And if I can do it, they can do it kind of attitude, you know. So having some sort of mentorship program is important to me too. And also being able to do more in terms of social media, branding, content, all of that stuff, because I really do love it. So that is like where I want it. I want social media to be another monetized platform, just multiple streams of income. That is what I'm looking to, but less time on me. I want to be able to delegate so I can really be there for my family. So that's the ultimate goal.
Okay, fantastic. That's so important because really it's like the quality of time. And like you said, tomorrow's never promised,
Right.
every day is so precious. You don't want to really miss a beat. And it's a balancing act. You want to be there for your clients. You want to make sure you're putting money in your pocket. You want to be there for your family, for your husband, for your kids.
Exactly.
And it's balancing it all. So how do you think faith plays into that? We know, faith is a very big part of your life. And how do you, implement or count, on God to really help you move forward in life?
Yes. So I really had done a lot of, before I even left architecture, I did a lot of praying about what it was that I should do, because I don't like making huge mistakes like in life.
Yeah.
Yes, you're gonna make the everyday regular mistakes, but I always like to look to God for anything major, especially for the major things. I mean, he'll help with the minor things, but I really thought that a career change like that would really drastically affect my income, and all of that was important. So prayer was number one. Like, I just keep praying about everything, devotion, reading the word to be able to get what it was that God's trying to tell me. Because I feel like a lot of people pray, but that's just you talking to God, right? That's not really you
Yeah.
hearing from him. So it's
Right.
important too to hear what he wants. So that devotion time. So prayer and devotion is how I like to start off my days. Sometimes I get so tired that I fall asleep. I'm not like perfect at it, but
Okay.
I try to make it, a priority, right? So that's once I get up, I take my daughter to school, I come back home, and it's prayer and devotion. And then everything else can happen after that. And
Okay.
those days that go in that order always
Yeah.
turn out so much better than the days when I miss it or skip it or fall asleep or whatever. It's always so
Wow.
much better, and even my offers, when I submit offers, I pray over them. I'm like, Lord, please, if this be your will, then have my clients get an accepted offer. If they don't get it, this is not the house for them. And I encourage them that way too. I'm like,
Yeah.
listen, you don't want to step into something that's not for you. And if
Right.
someone else takes that from you, then it wasn't going to be for you. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm like, just
Yeah.
be patient. The market is crazy, but it can
Yeah.
happen. And it's happened for all of my clients. I've only had like 2 clients back out because of the
Oh,
market,
wow.
like the interest rates, but the rest
Okay.
through, and they have faith. And yeah, it's been a huge part of my business plan. So God has just been good. Like, my faith is everything for me.
Yeah, and I wholeheartedly believe that. I believe that, everything does happen for a reason. And,
Mhm.
if it doesn't go your way, it's for a reason. And we might
Right.
not know it or understand it today, but in the future, it might come to light or it might not. But it's
Yeah.
like there is a higher being that is truly, protecting us,
Yeah.
and making sure that we are taking the right path in the right direction, even if we may or may not agree with it or understand it. I
Yes.
always believe in that. And sometimes your biggest failures turn to be your biggest wins. It's
Well,
like, yeah, I
exactly.
have clients that, maybe get outbid on a property and they're so upset by it. And,
Yeah.
there's multiple bids and they lost it. But then, 2 months later, they find their dream house and they couldn't imagine that any house would have topped the last one. But here they
Right.
are, so much happier,
Right.
So again, there's
So
always a
true.
bigger reason and a bigger purpose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
and I
so
love the
true.
fact that you have that methodology and that you have the routine that you really, stick to, because a lot of people can get lost in this business, as far as like time management, time blocking, carving time out for yourself. So how do you, really, because we know real estate is 24/7, right?
Yes.
So how do you make sure, is there a time that you say, okay, I'm turning off my phone after 8, or, Saturdays or Sundays or whatever it may be is just my family day? I mean, do you put those boundaries in place for yourself? Because I know a lot of agents get wrapped into,
Yeah.
into the work life. Yeah.
Yes. That had happened for me very much so in the very beginning. I feel like there's still some times that I struggle with it because I don't turn off my phone. I'm very much on my phone all the time.
Okay.
But I try not to do like business until a certain time. One, I use my Calendly a lot. Calendly, the app, I set an availability schedule in there. So that's usually for consultations. So I'll make sure it's linked to my calendar. So if there's something going on my calendar, which I try to use the time blocking in that regard. Like if I'm getting my daughter ready for school, then no notifications are coming through during that time. If someone wants to set an appointment to have a consultation with me, the only available times are between the time I come home from dropping her off and right before I go to pick her up. That's the time frame that they can, be able to set an appointment with me between. And then, and it's connected to my calendar. So they will have to pick times that fall in between my open slots. And then in terms of my communication's very essential for me. So I make sure my clients can reach me at any time. They can always text me. If it's like a showing, I try not to do showings on Sundays because I do go to church. I have family time. So I try to avoid that day as much as possible. It's only if it is completely unavoidable. Someone is the last showing for this particular home is on Sunday and they're asking for your numbers by Monday morning. Only in those types of situations that I'm like, all right, I will go out on a Sunday to help my buyer. But aside from that, I try to avoid Sundays at all costs. And so, I've been trying to keep a proper schedule and boundaries in place, but sometimes, it's adjusted to be able to help everyone. So I recommend it if someone can be like really on top of that, it would be great. But being flexible too is necessary. In that regard. They do say you leave your 9 to 5 to work 24/7.
I know. It's like, and they always say you work harder when you work for yourself, as opposed to, working for somebody else. You really do. But the reward is greater as well. And you have more things you can control,
Exactly. So true.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Gabby. I'm so excited and so appreciative to have you on the show today. For all of our listeners and viewers out there that want to reach out to you or connect with you, what's the best way for them to do so?
Yes, I am on every single platform there is. So the easiest is Instagram. So that's at Gabby_the_realtor. That's my handle there. That's also my handle on Facebook, and you can reach me on YouTube at Gabby. Gabby G in NYC is the channel on YouTube. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter. I'm on TikTok. I have my own website. It's www.gabriellegilbert.com. So really, anyway, any platform you reach out,
out there.
Yes, I'm out there and I will connect. So it's very exciting. So and I recommend that too for new agents. I love new agents. So make sure you're on everything and make yourself very available, but safely, because it can be done in the wrong way too.
100%. Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we exactly.
We
don't want to overexpose too much. Yeah,
exactly. I've had some moments with that too.
Yeah,
so that's interesting.
Right. Well, thank you guys so much, and we look forward to seeing you on the next show. And then, Gabby, we're going to be, broadcasting this on all podcast platforms and channels. So thanks again for being here and hope to see you very soon.
Thank you for having me. It's been amazing.
All right, go.
You've been tuning into Real Estate Powerhouse live on Tab Talks with your host attorney, Taliya Bashani. For more information, please visit Tali360.com. You can watch this show streaming live on StreamYard and available across all social media outlets, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook Live, and more. Stay tuned for next week's episode. Thank you for your positive feedback, comments, and questions, and please share this show with your network.